Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back if this is your sixth DC Stargirl episode review. Obviously, I'm going to comment on many things that have changed. My hair. Finally, at long last, my city of New York has finally reopened its barbershop safely with protections. I went there on my own accord. So pardon my hairstyle as it's going to ever continuously change throughout the next few weeks as it eventually gets to the size that I would like to, so I can start modeling more. So this is the best you're going to get out of me for a few weeks. Also, I apologize if this is a little bit even more later than usual. Fridays tentatively are my recording days for Stargirl. However, because I had work and a prior family engagement to attend to, I could not record the review on time, plus I forgot to freaking DVR this episode, so I had to watch it on demand. And for some unknown reason, my TV providers on demand services are very finicky as of late. So a lot of slow downs, a lot of skip scene, not skip scene, but a little bit fast forward scenes. So it was very difficult for me to watch this episode, but I still very much enjoyed this episode, which is where we'll talk about this week, where we finally see the current members of the New Justice Society on their very first mission. And I honestly think this was another strong episode. Even though I'm a character-driven type of guy, just getting to see the team finally form after many, many episodes of setup was worth it. It was a well-worth setup, and now it definitely embarks us on a whole new second run of the show as we, enter the second half. And yeah, so I really enjoyed this episode. I feel like the team dynamic is slowly starting to develop. We got hints of it last week, but this was a full-on, we're seeing this team finally getting to get its clippings together and, eventually come to a head with Pat and, what his overall stance on Courtney assembling a whole new team of heroes, and how does the Injustice Society fare against that. But honestly, overall, before I get to the usual point, I really did enjoy this episode. I really did. I think it's another strong episode for the show. This show is very much winning me over every single week. Like when I first started the show, and the on-demand fucking finally finicky on me. I apologize. The TV remote was not near me. Also, apologize if you got a bad angle on me. There are very bad angles on me, but sorry about that. Anyway, so I think that's the right point to say. It's time for the Butchered Recap. So we begin this week with your typical high school centered episode opener. A football game. Well, not really a football game. It's football training. We see Artemis Crook. And of course, the Artemis should very much ring a bell with you DC fans. We see Artemis playing with the football team. I'm sorry, I'm not a sports guy. That's Sal's World. Go follow Sal on his sports podcast. I'm not that guy. But she's playing in the game. She's not happy with one of her teammates' decisions, and she punches the guy. The coach decides to bench her for the game, or at least for the next game. And her parents, who turns out to be the Crusher dude we saw in the very early episodes of the show, and his presumed wife, are not happy with the coach's decision. Coming back that night to threaten him and eventually kill him because he benched their daughter. Very extreme, in my opinion. I mean, it's just a benching. It's not like, I know he frightened them to if your daughter doesn't change her attitude, I'm going to bench her for the whole season. Then then just kick her off the team at that point, because if she's not going to be there, what's the freaking point? So anyway, we cut back to this could have taken place on Halloween night, but I guess the timelines are a bit off here. So we see Cord, presumably after the events of the last episode, returning home, because I think it's still Halloween night. Plus, I don't think Pat would have waited that much longer. So we see Courtney returning home, quietly trying to, get to bed. Pat sees her, obviously confronting her about the whole, why'd you take all the Justice Society outfits, the items, all sorts of things, the whole 9 yards. Pat's not happy with her. Of course, Courtney reveals that I've already recruited 3 new people. We already have successors for Yolanda's new Wildcat. Pat already knows that Rex has Hourman's, Hourglass, and that Beth has Dr. Midnight's goggles. So Pat's already now a little bit shocked at the fact that Courtney's already recruited some people. However, he is warning her that, hey, you're putting them in a jeopardy situation here, as this is not a game. This is, being a superhero is very much filled with life-threatening missions and very dangerous circumstance, and they're just kids. At the end of the day, they're just teenagers who have little to no actual, combat prowess or actually experience. So, putting them in this situation where they're fighting against experienced members of the Injustice Society, it's a bit risky, and obviously I have to side with Pat on this one, despite his annoyingness at some points. So Pat pretty much gives Courtney an ultimatum, like, you need to get every single item that you've given them back, and we're going to put this again, once they get past trying to, like, we're moving on, like, the brainwave thing was like a one fluke win, but we're not going to, like, harp on this too much. So Pat takes the rest of the outfits and hides them in the Starman crate in the basement. Very poor hiding decision, man. I mean, that would be the first place I would have looked for if I had those costumes. Obviously, Courtney's faced with a dilemma with the whole, like, she has to get back all the outfits, all the items back from the new recruits. We cut to the morning where this is like the weirdest character moment for Pat's son, as well as Courtney's mom. It's a very weird character, like, mini storyline, but I honestly find it a little bit charming. So obviously our lovable little boy here, not little, he's in middle school. It's pretty short for middle school. I think I was taller when I was in middle school, to be honest. I'm a lot bigger, but anyway. Besides the point, he's building his science fair project at the last minute. He's building a candy volcano, and what is hilarious that Pat, once again, is very much against it. Courtney's mom is actually like, oh, hey, this is pretty cool. Pat's like, oh, God, what am I dealing with here? And it's for a science fair, and, he's trying not to have them come to the science fair because he doesn't want to get embarrassed. The whole typical, like, I don't want my parents to show up at a school function sort of thing. But we'll come back to that later. We're gonna put a pin on that. Courtney and Pat does have a little bit of an awkward tension here, as given last night's circumstances. Courtney now has to embark to school to pick up all the Justice Society outfits and items. And meanwhile, Pat's off to go talk to Rex and try to at least get the hourglass from him, and also tell him about his, his actual father's origins, what he was doing, yada yada yada. But we'll get back to that later. And here comes the most awkwardest part for me personally in the whole show. Now, when I say awkward, like, I'm a very weird person. Like, there are certain scenes in any movie, TV show where it's like, whenever it comes to a character having to talk to other characters about something about, it's over type of thing. I don't mean like a breakup. I just meant like something in the lines of like, I'm taking something away from you. I don't know why. It always makes me feel awkward to see those scenes. Like, I don't want to see these scenes, but I have to. And it's like, it's just the facial reactions they had. So Courtney's talking to Yolanda. Yolanda's showing her a video she found of Wildcat back in the olden days. And how happy Yolanda is to be the new Wildcat. It's basically the only good thing that's happened in her life in recent months. And also, how did Yolanda get her phone back? I mean, a couple of weeks ago when we saw the whole, the centered episode, the focused episode on Yolanda, I was very much confused. Like, her parents still, I don't want to say hate her. I don't think parents can ever hate their children. But wasn't her parents very much against her trying to have any sort of social life? Or am I reading too much into it? It could be just a me thing. But she has her phone back apparently somehow, and Courtney also goes to talk to Beth, she's making friends with the AI in the goggles. So basically, Yolanda and Beth are really happy that they're part of this new, this new world, so to speak, and they're thanking Courtney for bringing them along for it, even though Courtney still has the very difficult decision about taking these items away from them. We come back to the body shop where Pat is telling Rex about his father's, background, where he came from, his mother, all that sort of thing. Rex is a little bit confused. No, Rick. Is it Rick? I'm so confused. Rick is a bit confused about the whole thing because, like, he was told different stories about his dad and mom when he was growing up. So obviously, this is a lot for him to handle. But of course, Pat tries to take this opportunity to get the journal back that he gives to Rick, as well as the hourglass. But Rick is like, no. These are my items, they're from my dad, so they should be, they belong to me. It's my, it's my father should be mine, which obviously he makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Pat doesn't want him to be part of the superheroics anymore, so he's trying to get the items back. And honestly, Rick has one of the most honest lines in the whole episode, or the whole series by this point. It's like, Pat has failed to do so many things, like, take down the Injustice Society, try to find these members, a lot of stuff since before and after the events of the destruction of the society. What has he done? And it's an honest question. Like, Pat has done. I mean, Pat is a very nice dude. He's doing the most responsible adult things. But what is he as a superhero? Like, he has done basically nothing. And there's a reason why Starman decided not to pass him the mantle of Starman, even though, like, technically, like, it was like Batman dies and, you know, there's Robin. Obviously, Robin would be the next fit to be the next Batman. It's obvious, it's core, but, you know, Starman didn't do that. He picked, he said, like, there will be another successor, there will be another me, but it wasn't Pat. So he has a point there, and I think that was a kind of a punch to the gut for Pat, because obviously he's trying to, like, be the responsible adult figure here, but obviously, of course, he's also partially a superhero, so I don't know, it was kind of like the weird thing I noticed, like, but it was also like a low blow to Pat. I don't know where this gets fit in here, but no, it's a little bit later on. So we see Courtney, and this is like, when we see the lunchroom scene, I'm like, oh god, I forgot there's the losers table, which is technically now the Justice Society table. I'm like, oh god, what are we going to go for here? But no, it turns, so Courtney decides, well, no, Yolanda and Beth, for the first time, they're actually talking as friends, basically, I'm pretty sure bonding over the new superheroics, and Courtney tells them, hey, listen, I need the costume back, and I need the goggles back. Pat, you know, is making me take them away. He doesn't think, you know, we should be doing this, all those sorts, and Yolanda and Beth do the more, this fits along line the character, like, this isn't overacted, this is obviously something this is believable out of them. Yolanda's basically like, Wildcat is basically the only good thing in my life right now. I'm not letting you take this away. I'm not letting anyone take this away from me. And Beth's like, what's his name? She gave the AI a name, but like the AI is like basically my only real friend at this point. So it's like, I'm not letting you take this away from me. And Courtney's just like left alone again. It's like, oh fuck, what did I do? Okay, then we get the scene where we get the new coach for Artemis's football team. And then the mysterious guy with the mustache and the nice suits. His name is apparently the Gambler, and he goes to meet up with Artemis' mom and dad, who turned on Crusher, and you know I think the name's Shiva. I don't know what the name was, but I think it was Lady Shiva. I might be wrong on that, but he goes to them to recruit them. Like, hey, I got a proposition for you. Like, I gotta do this thing tonight. I gotta hack into this station to get some satellite codes. I need some protection, need some bodyguard with obviously, of course, Stargirl being out there, and of course, unwillingly knowing the other new members of Justice Society. So he needs protection because the Gambler has no superpowers. He basically has his intellect. That's basically it. So a bit of pushback from the duo, but they decide, you know what, we're in. And then we cut to the end of the school day. Yolanda and Beth are still angry at Courtney for even trying to get their stuff back. Rick meets up with them, he tells them about what Pat tried to do to him, and obviously, of course, they kind of all confront Courtney, like, hey, basically, hey, you gave these items to us, like, this is part of us now, like, you can't just take them away. And Rick, again, does another great line where it's like, what would you do if Pat tells you, I'm taking away the staff? Then Courtney would obviously say no. So what makes her in the position to be able to do the same to the other three? So obviously, again, Rick making so much more sense here. I'm actually, you know, very shocked that he's so very, you know, well spoken and stuff, unlike me. Then he shows Beth the formulas he found in his dad's journal, but to try and get the goggles to decipher them, but it doesn't work. These are off the records, you know, not really there's no match to them, so it's a dead end there. But however, before they're able to move on to the next thing, the goggles get a signal from the Gambler, who is already beginning his he's going to begin a hacking assault on a station nearby the town. So the guys know, like, oh, this is it. This is our first real mission. Like, we can get the Gambler, who has no real superpowers, and, you know, get to interrogate him and get some information out for the rest of the Injustice Society. So it's like, obviously these guys are like, hey, this is an easy mission. It's an easy first mission, so why not? Courtney's a little hesitant with the whole, like, status she's in with Pat, but she gets pushed along, like, okay, let's do this. And then we get this very nice scene at the science fair where we see. Here's the thing: I've never been to a middle school science fair in my life. I got offered. Actually, my school tried to make me go to one of these science fairs to participate, and I'm like, no, I don't know science. I don't know any of the sort. My hair is a mess again. I apologize. I'm not doing a science fair. But we see every kid with their parents or someone watching their project, and then Pat's son is alone with no one. He's kind of I can tell in his eyes, like, because I kind of felt like this when I was a kid. Like, whenever you're at this big social gathering with parents around, you kind of hope that your parents show up too to kind of support you. And conveniently enough, Courtney's mom does show up to support him. He's very happy with the project. And for a second, they're like really happy. It's like a real stepmom stepson bonding moment. It's great. It's a great moment, and then when we get to see them back at the house, where it's like they're eating up his science project, it's like, wow, this is really like it's Courtney's mom getting the son she never had, and Pat's son getting a real paternal figure to really bond with. It's like, wow, it's one of the nice human moments of the whole series, the whole episode, because obviously we get back into the super heroics after the scene. But Pat shows up, and the mom lets him know that, oh hey, Courtney went out with friends, with Beth and the others. Like, oh fuck, Patty instantly knew, like, no, this is not gonna end well. And yes, we cut to the station where the Justice Society have officially suited up for their first mission. I love the moments where we get to see these costumes together for the first time. It's so awesome. Even Beth, like, even though, like, she has no superpowers of her own, it's like, this is so cool. Like, this is a cool moment to get to see finally, like, these 6 episodes of build to, like, at least the foundation for the next Justice Society. It's just so cool. Hourman's ready, Wildcat's ready, and everyone's ready to go. Stargirl tries to take point, but obviously Hourman's like a little bit more like, I'm gonna go do my own thing. But there was like a nice moment with Dr. Midnight hacking into the thing instead of Hourman punching through the freaking door, which obviously would have set alarm. So smart there. Meanwhile, the gambler plays Timber for some reason. Okay, I heard the song a few times when I was a kid, but oh man, was I a kid when this song came out? I don't remember. Anyway, moving on. The Justice Society swarm through the station. They find a dead security guard, and the gambler presumably thought the Justice Society was outside his door. It turns out no, it's just his cat, and I'm a sucker for cats, and that's a very cute cat. So back to it. So the Justice Society immediately get confronted by Sportsmaster and Lady Shiva, and Hourman just says, fuck it, I'm bum rushing in, and he instantly gets his ass kicked by the duo, who splits up. And I love how Courtney had a plan, like, we're going to take them on together. Like, we're a team now, we're together, and they just split off. Like, not even like a minute into the fight, they're like, we're splitting off to fight our own separate people. I'm like, yeah, this is a team here. This is the beginning of a long team history. Sorry about that. Like a long... I won't do that again. I apologize. Where do we go here? So Hourman face off against Sportsmaster, and even though I know who Sportsmaster is. I've seen Young Justice before. I don't like the costume choice for this. I very much like the abilities set for this guy, where we actually get to see these pseudo cinematic moments with him using these sports items like a baseball, hockey puck, all those bells and whistles, or balls and such, whatever. It was a cool moment. It was honestly a cool moment to see, and get to see him implement that into his fighting style, and obviously this guy is very macho given what we know of his background, and I honestly thought that was a really cool fight scene. And obviously, what was to expect? These guys have no prior training. They barely even know their costumes, so of course they're going to get their asses kicked. But I give them the benefit of the doubt, at least holding their own for a while before they instantly get their asses kicked. Hourman eventually goes down with the count. Eventually Stargirl has to step in and actually does a much better job of taking on Sportsmaster. Wildcat takes on Lady Shiva, but... Was it Lady Shiva? I gotta look up the names after this episode. And getting to see her fight, those two fight. It was a pretty cool, a well choreographed fight scene. But obviously, of course, experience over, youth, so Wildcat gets her ass kicked. Dr. Midnight is able to distract them long enough so both of them can escape, so kudos to her there. And then while Stargirl is doing really well against her own against Sportsmaster, the other one comes in and the two double team her, and it's just too much for Stargirl to handle. And then as a final resort after the gambler finishes downloading the codes. For a brief moment there, Sportsmaster throws a bomb at Courtney, but the staff takes the blow. And initially I'm like, oh great, they're gonna do like the whole like an episode where like the staff is out of power, Courtney's gonna learn some, very heroic lesson the next episode, and then the staff's gonna magically have its power again. It's gonna be one of those episodes, isn't it? And no, actually it's not. It's actually the staff just came back to life. Basically, the rest of the Justice Society show up to support her, so it's going to be a proper 4v2. The other two are anxiously expecting for this battle to occur. However, before we begin round 2 with these between heroes versus villains, Pat shows up in the stripe armor, and now becomes 5 against 2, and we get that awesome shot we saw in the new multiverse sequence in Crisis Infinite. We get to finally see that footage, and I'm like, oh my god, this is freaking cool. And however, they know, like, okay, we can't take on a giant robot, so they escape, and Pat takes the group back to the auto body shops. So the newbies, not the newbies, the recruits are very much in awe about the whole like robotic suit and everything. And Courtney and Pat have a talk. Pat trying to Courtney has like a dad moment where it's like, oh my god, they don't listen to me, they're not obeying my commands, I have a plan. And then like comes out one ear like the other, and then Courtney realizes, oh, this is what Pat was trying to do to me, and I did the same thing to Pat. Very smart parenting on Pat's part, very smart. And initially Courtney's like, okay, I guess we're gonna have to like stop. But Pat's like, well, this was your first mission, you guys have to get more training. And that's the thing that was the key word here. Like, there has to be more training, meaning that Pat says basically like, hey, we got no choice. Like, these guys they know the costumes, they wore the costumes, they're beginning to know these abilities, they know everything, so why not? He can't get rid of them. So basically, Courtney gets what she wants. She gets the new Justice Society, and it's like, it's a big one, not really a big one, but it's like kind of like a small victory for the team. So it's like they get to still be a team. So it's like, that's cool. And then in another cool moment, we cut back to the Injustice Society lair where we finally get people sitting at the damn empty-ass table from episode 2 or 3. It was 2. So that was a cool... They finally start to see somewhat of the group starting to form back up. Obviously, of course, the key thing to this whole plan, Operation New America, they need Brainwave. Obviously, I'm presuming that the plan was for Brainwave to mind control everyone in the world, but Brainwave's still in a coma. So now the group's like, oh crap, what do we do? So they're thinking of a new plan, but that's gonna have to wait till much later, till next time or in the future episode. Who knows? And that was it for the episode. But again, overall speaking, I really love this episode. I really thought it was a great episode. Getting to finally see the team in costume, finally get to see them on their first mission. And obviously losing, but it's still like the trials and tribulations of being a superhero, considering the amount. Like, not everyone can win their first battles. Not everyone. But they did a really good try at doing it. I love the fight scenes. I love the small bonding scene between Courtney's mom and Pat's son. I really love that moment. And I love, again, how Injustice... I don't know why. The Gambler looks like such a cool villain. I don't know why, like, the mustache. It's always the mustache. I should grow a mustache. I can't grow a mustache. I can never grow one. And I'm very excited to see where the second half is going to take us. With, hopefully we'll get to see training scenes, more bonding scenes, getting to see Pat associate with the other Justice Society, the newbies, and seeing where the story goes. I'm very excited. I don't know. Do we have? I don't know if we have 12 episodes, 13 episodes, but we're either at the halfway mark or we are approaching the halfway mark next week. It's either one of the two. So either way, we're basically at the halfway mark of the story. So I'm very excited to see where the second half takes us. I'm starting to really fall in love with this series, so I can't wait to see where the second half goes. And yeah, 2 thumbs up in my book. And that's going to do it for me, guys. So if you were unaware, this was What's in the Tube from ActionX. If you want to know what we do overall on What's in the Tube, besides our Stargirl episode reviews, we're going to begin DC's Doom Patrol Season 2 reviews that usually would have been on every Saturday after a brand new episode on Thursdays on HBO Max and on DC Universe. I have not yet recorded that yet. I'm going to buy the subscription tomorrow, watch the episodes, and then it's going to be a big, long episode review because They release multiple episodes, so I'm not going to catch up. It's only 9 episodes, so basically we're only getting 7 weeks. But what are you going to do? But that will be starting up next time. But however, we also do Perry Mason episode reviews, which come out every Monday. Have their brand new episode on HBO. But however, if you only care about Stargirl, we typically post our DC Stargirl episode reviews each and every Friday after a brand new episode on Monday on DC Universe, and every Tuesday nights on the CW. But then you can catch it free on CW.com and the CW app. So you have multiple ways to see it, and then you have a whole week to watch it before you watch the review of it. Can't wait for the next episode. It really bums me out, because I want to do these episode reviews much more faster and earlier, because I'm really starting to love with this show, and I really want to watch it live. I really want to watch it, but I can't record it during that time period, because just the recording conditions in my house, they're just not feasible during the week than on the weekends. So that's why I have to wait till the weekend. So it sucks. I wish hopefully in the near future we get to adapt to that. If you're unaware, I am not in a room. I'm in my living room. So it's all spaced out. It's all open. So I have no privacy. I feel uncomfortable recording videos when people can hear me. So I tend to wait till everyone's normally out of the house so I can do these in peace. Plus I have no real privacy, so I can't do anything about that. But enough backstory about that. Again, if you're unaware, this was What's in the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more of What's in the Tube, please subscribe to ActionX on YouTube.com. Ring the bell for notification when we have the next Stargirl episode review live. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to, but it does help us out. It really does. As well as follow us on social media to be up to date when the next video is coming out, any updates on videos, all the 9 yards. And I'll see you Stargazers. It's been a while. Stargazers next week. Peace out.